back. So the other day I got another Bart Simpson figure, but since I only got one figure, it's not a lot of content to go over. So I'm also going to talk about another one of my favorite Simpsons episodes.
So here's the Bart figure that I got recently, and as you can see, it's still sealed in the bag. And this Bart figure is kind of kneeling and doing an air guitar. Right, so he's doing the knee slide thing. This figure is actually a PVC figure manufactured by Applause. Now, Applause is the same company that makes these Mario figures that I have, featured in my vintage American Mario merchandise video, along with another Applause Mario piece that was also featured in the vintage Mario American merchandise review. Now, just a little side story about the shop that I got this Bart in is I went in there and I've always wanted to get a Pez gun. Specifically, the one from the 60s, and even more specifically, the one that is black with the brown grips so that it looks like a real gun, because it's just cooler. But I'd be down to get the one that's orange with the cream grips. But I would also settle for the 1980s Space Shooter, the latest gun in the series, and also the most common and least expensive. So I asked the owner of the store if he happened to have a 1980s Space Shooter Pez gun. And he said there was no Pez gun from the 80s. And, but that's just obviously not true, I mean. And, there's three different Pez guns, basically. There's the one from the 1950s, which was the Pez Space Gun. And it looks like a little stubbier space gun. And then there was the 1960s, two variations, the black with the brown grips, and the orange with the vanilla grips, the cream grips. And then there was the last one, the 1980s Space Shooter. So, I just didn't understand why he decided to dispute it when there's obvious information on the internet everywhere. But along with disputing it, he also decided to say that he's been collecting since I was in diapers. Okay, well, you obviously... And he said that he has had every Pez dispenser in his store. Well, obviously, that's not the case, because the 1980s Pez gun was definitely something that exists. And I actually didn't say anything after that, because I wanted to buy this Bart figure here. But also, I did try to pull up a picture of the 1980s Space Shooter on the internet, and I happen to not be able to get cell service. So, it's nice and convenient for him. I talked about these a little bit in my Thanks for Your Support video, but I may as well talk about them again while I'm talking about my other vintage Bart figure that I got. So these figures are another pair of 1990 vintage Simpsons figures, and they are the camping set. Part of the camping set, I should say. But the thing is that I consider them the Call of the Simpsons figures, because the Call of the Simpsons is a season 1 episode where the Simpsons go camping. And so that's pretty much what this episode is. And so that's pretty much what these figures are representative of, because they were 1990 or season 1 era figures. So we'll take a look here first at Bart. Got his backpack, some books it looks like, that's kind of funny. Maybe a Squishy or a Buzz Cola. He's got his canteen, he's got a sleeping bag, and then he's got his portable TV. Oh yeah, that's actually what the burglar steals when he steals Lisa's sax. That in the episode, I believe Lisa's sax. It's called Lisa's sax, and he steals Bart's portable TV. And then obviously you got his skateboard, which is actually orange for some reason instead of the classic green with the purple wheels. Very cool skateboard, the real Bart Simpson skateboard. I really like it. As you can see, Bart is also wearing a green shirt. And it's strange because Bart, in official merchandise at the time, has a blue shirt all the time. But I guess the Burger King toy manufacturers didn't get the memo. And so they gave him a green shirt. With green shorts and red shoes instead of blue shorts and blue shoes. Next we have Homer wearing a fishing hat and vest. And he's holding up a sock for some reason, while a skunk looks to be on a stump or a rock next to him. And he's barefoot. Kind of an interesting figure. As you can see, he's got the pointy hairstyle instead of the rounded. They were switching it up in the early seasons. He also has a green shirt and khakis instead of a white shirt and jeans. He's got kind of a weird expression going on there. Ooh.
The episode in question is Homer Goes to College. Something I really like about this episode is that it starts off with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission coming to Mr. Burns' power plant. And when they knock on the door, he says, "Oh, we sell cookies here. Yes, Mr. Burns' old-fashioned cookies." And then, like, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the guy goes, "Get the axe." And then Mr. Burns decides to try to bribe them by using, like, game show style prizes. He says, like, "You can either have the washer-dryer set where the lovely Smithers is standing, or you can trade it all in for what's in this box." It's like a box with question marks on it. And then, like, my very favorite part of that is that the same guy who says, "Get the axe," says, the box. It's just an incredible scene. One of the reasons why Homer Goes to College is one of the greatest episodes. And another reason is because they also hide Homer in the basement with two other dumb guys, and their job is to guard the bee that's in a jar. And eventually Homer breaks the jar by putting his feet up, so he chases after the bee. And eventually, he goes in front of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and he goes, "The bee bit my bottom and now my bottom's big." So they put him in a simulator, and he starts, like, having a mental breakdown. What do I do? And so he manages to, like, have a meltdown, even though there's no actual, like, nuclear materials in the truck. And so this is another one of my favorite scenes right here. Is Mr. Burns, like, presses a button and it opens, like, an escape pod. Presses it and there's two seats in it. And Smithers, like, bangs on the door and he's like, "For the love of God, sir, there's two seats." And he just opens it up for a second and he's like, "I like to put my feet up." And then it does the escape pod scene from episode 4 where and then just goes, like, probably like 100 feet, 50 feet in the air, and just goes like... The rest of the episode is, just kind of your average Simpsons episode, but the beginning of the episode is really just incredible. Like, the first, probably, like, 10 minutes of the episode is just like, wow, this is amazing, But, like the part when he goes to the actual, like, college, and it's just, like, your average, like, college life parody, basically. That's why it's kind of just your average Simpsons episode after that. It's still funny, there's still some good parts. I mean, there's the part where he steals the pig, and when he has the pig, he's like, "Ooh, look at his tail." He goes like, "Curly, straight, curly, straight." And they're like, "I don't think he likes that, Homer." He's like, "No, it's fine." He's like, "Curly, straight," and it just bites him in the finger. And he goes like, "Why, you little..." Oh, that part's pretty funny too. But definitely, the beginning of the episode. This one is so hilarious, man. The whole dynamic between Burns and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And that is something that comes up multiple times throughout the series of The Simpsons. And it even kind of has to do with The Simpsons movie. It's not the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. This time it's the EPA. And it's not necessarily Mr. Burns that's doing it. It's just Springfield in general is polluting everything. But Mr. Burns is a big player in that. So, probably the biggest player in terms of damage to the environment because he dumps radioactive materials. But that's another reason why the first half of the episode is so great is I actually really love power plant centric episodes because you just get to see all of the ways they can make Homer and the rest of the workers at the power plant look extremely incompetent. And I think that's just hilarious, you know? And a little side note, in the episode The Way We Was, Season 2, the whole episode is a flashback. And Homer is talking to a guidance counselor. And he suggests that he goes and works at the Springfield nuclear power plant. And so Homer's like walking away from the counselor's office and he goes, "Imagine me in a nuclear power plant." Kaboom!